When you reach for a glass of water, what's the first thing you think about? I'm guessing it's about making sure it's clean, right? Safe, pure. We spend so much time and, let's be honest, money filtering our water to get rid of everything we don't want. But what if, in our race for purity, we're accidentally stripping out something our bodies desperately need?
So let's just chew on that question for a second. Because the answer, well, it might just change how you think about hydration forever. We're going to dig into this idea that some of the very things we filter out of our water are actually essential nutrients that our bodies are crying out for. And really, it all comes down to this basic conflict. On one side, you've got purity, the mission to remove harmful stuff like bacteria and contaminants. And look, that's absolutely non-negotiable. Nobody's arguing that. But on the other side, you have nutrition. This idea that water can be, and maybe should be, a source of vital minerals. It's the ultimate showdown, what we take out versus what we leave in.
And that brings us to the good stuff, water's hidden nutrients. Because it turns out that a lot of those so-called impurities, the things that make water hard, are actually macrominerals that are just critical for our health.
Okay, so let's get on the same page. Hard water just means it's packed with dissolved minerals, mostly calcium and magnesium. It picks them up as it flows over rocks like limestone. Soft water is the opposite. It's low in these minerals and tends to be more acidic. Think rainwater. The big difference? The only thing you need to remember? It's all about the minerals.
Now, you're probably thinking, don't I get all the minerals I need from my food? And yeah, you get a lot there. But here's the kicker, something called bioavailability. Research shows our bodies are incredibly good at absorbing minerals from water. Why? Because they're in a form that's basically ready to go. Our intestines can just grab them, way easier than breaking them down from food.
And the difference this can make is, well, it's wild. Just look at these numbers. Depending on where your water comes from, those 2 liters you drink a day might give you less than 0.5% of the calcium you need, or it could give you a whopping 72%. Same thing with magnesium. This isn't some tiny detail. It's a massive variable in our diet that most of us just completely ignore.
Okay, so if mineral-rich water can be this huge nutritional powerhouse, does it actually lead to better health? Well, there's a growing mountain of scientific evidence that suggests the answer is a big, resounding yes. For decades, scientists have been running these huge studies, and they keep finding the same links. Drinking hard water is consistently associated with a lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. But it doesn't stop there. They've also found links to better bone density, protection against certain cancers, and even a lower risk of cognitive decline as we get older.
This Russian study is a perfect example. Researchers looked at 2 communities that were almost identical. Same diet, same social conditions, same air quality. The only major difference was their water. One had low mineral soft water, the other had high mineral hard water. The results were just striking. The folks drinking the low mineral water had higher rates of high blood pressure, ulcers, and a whole list of other problems.
But maybe the most jaw-dropping evidence comes from a massive, completely unintentional experiment that unfolded in Sweden. For about 30 years, from the 60s to the 90s, acid rain just hammered Scandinavia, and it totally changed the chemistry of the land.
What happened was the acid rain literally leached the good stuff, minerals like calcium and bicarbonate, right out of the soil. And that meant it was leached out of the well water too. So in some areas, the water became super soft and acidic, while in other areas, the water stayed alkaline and full of minerals.
And you guessed it, the health problems followed. A study looked at women who had been drinking from these wells for years. The ones drinking the demineralized acidic water reported way more negative health changes over time. It's a direct link, right there in the real world. When the minerals disappear from the water, people's health can take a hit.
All right, so the lesson is just more minerals, good, right? Well, it's a little more sophisticated than that. It's not just about cramming in as many minerals as possible. It's about the quality, and this is the really important part, the balance.
And that brings us to the big idea of this whole explainer, mineral balance. See, minerals don't work alone in our bodies. They're all interacting, sometimes competing, sometimes helping each other out. So to get the best results, you need them in the right proportions.
Here's the perfect example. We all know calcium is crucial for our bones, but it can act as an antagonist to magnesium, and magnesium is absolutely vital for your heart to function properly. So if you have way too much calcium compared to magnesium in your water, it can literally block your body from absorbing that critical magnesium. It's all about the balance.
So what is that perfect balance?
Well, for these two heavy hitters, the research points to a sweet spot. You're looking for a ratio of about 2 to 3 parts calcium for every 1 part magnesium. That lets your body get all the amazing benefits of both without one getting in the other's way.
Okay, so this brings it all right back home, into our kitchens. The choices we make about our water every day, how do they play into this delicate mineral balancing act?
And here is the great irony. A lot of the popular water treatments we use, things like reverse osmosis or water softeners, are fantastic in making water pure. But in the process of yanking out all the bad stuff, they also yank out nearly all of these good protective minerals. And don't just take my word for it. Listen to this quote from the source material. Water that's been totally demineralized through reverse osmosis can actually be corrosive. And even more importantly, drinking it long-term might have some really serious health implications.
And water softeners? They can be a real double whammy. They work by swapping out those hard minerals like calcium and magnesium for sodium. So not only are you losing all the good stuff, you're adding a bunch of sodium, which we all know can be a big concern for blood pressure.
Okay, so with all of this information buzzing in our heads, how do we start to rethink our drinking water? How do we find that perfect spot between pure on one side and nutritious on the other?
Well, here's something you can actually use. This chart shows the desirable ranges for those key minerals, all based on health research. You can usually find a water quality report for your town online, or you can just check the label on your favorite bottled water. You're aiming for calcium somewhere between 20 and 80 milligrams per liter, and magnesium between 10 and 50. It gives you a real target to shoot for.
So, the next time you pour yourself a glass of water, I want this question to pop into your head. For years, we've all been trained to ask, is my water clean? But maybe, just maybe, the more important question for our health in the long run is this one. Is it nutritious? The answer could be one of the biggest health decisions you make, day in and day out.